How does one remake a true horror classic? Do they try to stick to what made the original so good, but add their own little spins here and there?
Or do you make it super intense with lots of swearing, gore, sex, shaky cam, and unnecessary explanations?
I can only imagine which route Rob Zombie will take. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my look at the Halloween franchise. Today, John Carpenter's masterpiece gets an insane new take in Halloween 2007. Shockingly, Resurrection was not met with great reception from audiences while still managing to rake in about $30 million at the box office. It was a bit of a nail in the Myers coffin for a few years, but as I've mentioned twice before, there was a remake renaissance sparked in 2003 after the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was released. With the surplus of movies being remade, it was a matter of when, not if, Halloween would get the treatment. In 2006, Dimension Films made the surprising choice of handing the reins over to heavy metal musician Rob Zombie, who had directed two other features, House of a Thousand Corpses and its sequel, The Devil's Rejects. He was given the duties of directing, writing, and producing a remake of the original 1978 film. He wanted to make it part prequel/remake, but added enough original content of his own so it wouldn't come off as a rehash. He essentially wanted to make Michael the main character of the film, giving him reasons for his evil actions and following his journey from childhood to his eventual escape from Smith's Grove and return to Haddonfield to find his baby sister. Former wrestler and absolute brick shithouse Tyler Mane was chosen to play adult Michael. Rob gave his wife Sherry Moon the role of Michael's mother, Deborah, while relative newcomer Scout Taylor Compton was selected to play the new Laurie Strode. Veteran actor Malcolm McDowell, well known for his villainous roles including Alex in A Clockwork Orange, was cast as the new Dr. Loomis. Another seasoned actor, Brad Dourif, aka Chucky, got the role of Sheriff Brackett, while the role of his daughter Annie would be played by Halloween alumni Danielle Harris. So how would Zombie reinvent the Halloween franchise along with a fairly big and recognizable cast? Let's find out. The movie begins with a quote from Dr. Loomis that never happened. Okay, good start here. Cut to the Myers house, which is looking a little more white trash than usual, but let's see how the family has breakfast.
I hope she likes cripples.
Bitch, I will crawl over there and I will skull fuck the shit out of you!
Oh, I'll get the crutches for you.
So that's the first 60 seconds, and yeah, I can tell this was written by Rob Zombie. Well, let's see how young Michael is acting.
Get your ass downstairs and wash your hands, you little shit. I'm not listening!
Done!
Oh my god. How can an opening scene be so loud, annoying, and disgusting that quickly? Stepdad Ronnie is gross, Judith is skanky, Michael is not what you expect in terms of attitude, Deborah is a somewhat decent human being, and baby Boo, Michael's only friend, just won't stop screaming. It's like the whole house woke up with the intention of being as unlikable as possible. I don't know, maybe things won't be so bad when Michael gets to school.
Hey! Tough guy! Think she'd suck my dick for a quarter and let me suck her tits?
Jesus, tap dancing, Christ, this is already unbearably uncomfortable to sit through. Rob is essentially already saying, see, it was the people he was surrounded by that made him psycho, not inherent evil. Yeah, cause that's more frightening than a young 6-year-old just suddenly snapping one night. The principal breaks up the bathroom fight, but after Michael badmouths him, he gets in trouble and has his mom and a young Dr. Loomis called in to visit. They find disturbing evidence of animal killings in Michael's bag and suggest he get psychiatric help. However, the kid they're so worried about easily gives them the slip and begins to stalk his bully walking home alone. Despite the character being reprehensible, the ambush and kill here is pretty disturbing considering he's still fairly young. Not sure I like it being Michael's first kill instead of someone like Ronnie or Judith, but it's an intense display of brutality that even a young Michael is capable of. That night, Michael wants Judith to take him trick-or-treating, but she's got her boyfriend Steve over and Deborah is leaving for work. What's the best sulking music for Michael? I used to like that song. I used to. While having sex, Steve puts on the mask to surprise Judith. Awesome reveal of the iconic mask. Way to make it a total joke. Michael's had enough and decides to start taking care of business, first tying up Ronnie. Next up, Steve, who heads down to the kitchen for a sandwich after sex. Both unsettling kills, no doubt, but Steve's always bothered me mainly for the twitching he does after the initial strike. Usually in movies it's like BAM and down they go, but here seeing his body and brain react are almost too realistic for me to handle. Finally, Michael reaches Judith, ditching the clown mask for his soon-to-be infamous look.
Michael! Answer me! What the fuck? Michael! Answer!
Chasing and stabbing her down the hallway, shaky cam and all, he kills her but spares little baby Boo and takes her outside with him to wait for Deborah. After finding the massacre, the bodies are carted off and Michael is arrested. Well, goddamn, that was one way to make the night of Michael's first murder much longer and more profane. Make everyone as hateable as possible and look at Michael as almost an anti-hero as he dispatches them in gruesome manners. 11 months later, Michael is sent to Smith's Grove Sanitarium and has his first meeting with Dr. Loomis. The two actually have a conversation, but Michael tells Loomis he doesn't remember anything from that Halloween night. I've always wondered if this was Michael truly blocking out the events of the murders or he was lying in order to cover his ass. I tend to lean towards the former, that he perhaps blacked out during his psychotic tendencies. He seems relatively calm around his mother as well, but he makes a friend in Max, played by Danny Trejo.
You gotta look beyond the walls. Learn to live inside your head. Hey, there's no walls that can stop you there.
Probably the kindest advice Michael's ever received, although it appears to affect him in a negative way as he begins to become unresponsive and making masks to hide himself. It gets to the point where Deborah and Loomis feel like they failed him, so let's leave him alone with the snarky nurse and a metal fork. Michael has become such an emotionless rage machine that Deborah decides she only has one option left. The time spent with young Michael had potential to be far greater. He seems to transition fairly quickly from a somewhat relaxed kid who just wanted to go home to an insane, unreachable monster. I believe it would have worked better if Michael didn't say a single word after the night he killed everyone. Give us the impression that he officially lost any remnants of being human, and maybe show Loomis deal with him over the course of years, not months. Let's see that slow progression of him realizing that he's dealing with evil. 15 years later, Max arrives to transport Michael, who must have been on a ton of steroids over the years, for his last session with Loomis.
In a weird way, you've become like my best friend.
And what's one thing best friends do for each other? Oh yeah, they write a book about how evil you are. This is one of my problems with Loomis. I can't tell if he really cares about Michael and wants to help him, or just study and exploit him for his own personal gains. Why else spend 15 years with someone who hasn't spoken a word? At least Donald Pleasance's Loomis established that he spent 8 years trying to reach him, then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because he knew he was pure evil. Here McDowell is saying he's been trying to reach him for 15 years because he was a psychopath created by the perfect storm of interior and exterior elements. So again, was this Loomis really trying to help him at all? I don't think so, and that makes him pretty shitty in my eyes. But now we come to Michael's escape. In Zombie's unrated director's cut, the version most in circulation, 2 guards bring a female patient into Michael's room to rape her. This is fucking unnecessary. Seriously, Rob, fuck you for even filming this scene. I'm skipping this entirely, so all you need to see is Michael giving well-deserved deaths to the guards. Max arrives to find the staff murdered and Michael out of his room. The nicest person in the whole movie tries to calmly return him, but he's attacked. Such a bummer of a kill, especially as Max continuously tells Michael how he was good to him. It does work to show that Michael has sympathy for no one. Loomis gets a call from Smith's Grove about the escape, but Michael has already made his way to a truck stop where he encounters and kills Big Joe Grizzly to get himself some new clothes. Cut to Haddonfield, where the Strohs are having their breakfast. Wonder if this will be any different from the Myers morning.
Mr. Nichols touched me the wrong way. Oh, Mom!
Okay, that is so not funny.
You want a screwdriver, Mommy? You want a hammer? Look at this, Mom.
Well, at least you know she has the trashy Myers blood coursing through her veins. Scenes being recreated start here as Tommy catches Lori on her way to school and the Myers house to drop off papers for her dad. But Michael has already arrived and retrieved his old mask.
There's no place to screw around, Lori.
No, I didn't ever need to see Michael Myers take a big sniff of his sister's scent. At school, Lori is hanging out with Linda and Annie in the library to discuss their babysitting plans that coincide with meeting up with their boyfriends for hookups. Meanwhile, Loomis insults the incompetence of Smith's Grove and lets him know that he's heading to Haddonfield to find Michael. The girls have their little chat as they walk home, but Sheriff Brackett stops along the way and picks up Annie. Yup, no creepy Michael stalking moments, that's it. Cut to nighttime at the Myers house where Linda and Bob arrive to drink and have sex, unaware that Michael is there too. Let's see where this smart decision lands them. Pretty ineffective recreations of Bob's death and the ghost sheet strangle on Linda. No suspense, just harsh and frankly boring. Lori is picked up by Annie, leaving the Strodes all alone. Good jump scare there, but these were probably the only other deaths that bummed me out. They weren't around much, but the Strodes were the only other nice people besides Max. I mean, come on, Dee Wallace is probably one of the sweetest people out there, so it's kinda hard to watch Myers snap her neck. Lori, now at the Doyle's house, gets a call from Annie at the Wallaces as she watches Lindsay, or rather, Michael watches her. Annie takes Lindsay over to Tommy's so Lori can watch her while she hooks up with Paul. During that time, Loomis manages to find Sheriff Brackett to warn him about Michael's return and sways him to believe in the imminent danger. At the Wallaces, Annie and Paul get cozy until... This was another awkward scene, watching the girl we all mostly remember as a young Jamie Lloyd having sex. Uncomfortable. Annie attempts to fight off Michael, which is futile, but he doesn't kill her. However, Lori finds her bloodied body as she enters the house along with Paul's decorated corpse. She calls the police, but Michael chases her out of the house. She makes it back to Tommy's and hides them all in the bathroom as the police arrive to save them. Michael casually captures and takes Lori's body away to the basement of the Myers house, where he shows her a picture of the two of them when they were younger. Think she'll understand what he's trying to say? Yeah, I didn't think so either. She escapes, but falls into an empty pool, becoming cornered by the slowly approaching Michael, but Loomis takes action.
Stop! Stop! Michael! Stop!
Took him down in only half the shots it took Donald Pleasance. Loomis takes Lori back to the police car as everything looks to be over.
Was that the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, I do believe it was.
That take? That's the take you all went with? For both of them? Good God, not only do the lines not work because in no way, shape, or form does it feel like Myers has been established as some supernatural entity, but they're delivered awfully, completely forced and entirely unnecessary except to be a callback. Surprise! Michael is still alive and drags Lori out of the car, but attacks Loomis and crushes his eyes. The movie then proceeds to take part in a far too drawn out chase between Michael and Lori as he tears apart the house looking for her in the walls and ceiling. He football tackles her off the balcony, but she survives the fall and uses Loomis's gun on Michael. It's been 2 hours, just fucking end already. My overall thoughts on Halloween 2007. Can't call myself a fan. It just has that dirty grime all over that Zombie is well known for. He incorporates this white trash influence with despicable characters that are obnoxious, reprehensible, loud pieces of shit. Who am I supposed to root for? The psychopathic killer? Why? Because he's had a hard life? Because he's taking his rage out on these awful characters? Okay, that is one reason to root for him. But I shouldn't want him to be the hero in a sense. I don't want to feel sympathy for Michael freaking Myers. I don't want to follow his journey. It deserves to be kept hidden to keep the mystique. I don't want to see him as a kid screaming like a girl and find out he lived in poverty, was bullied, his stepdad was abusive, his sister was a slut, and his mom was a stripper. With all that, you go, well, no shit he became a killer. The original intent of Michael indicated that he grew up with a fairly normal family and home life, but had something click that just made him evil. That's scary. When everything on the surface looks fine, then suddenly a silent alarm goes off in his head and urges him to kill. The original Loomis explaining that he realized that evil within him is all we need needed to know to indicate that what is being dealt with is no ordinary man. The boogeyman element just feels forced in the remake because we're being led on this nature versus nurture debate that says Michael is the way he is because of how he was raised, never indicating any sort of potential supernatural ability. All of this could have been fixed in those first 2/3 when we got a little bit of that prequel that Zombie wanted to show with the build up to Judith's death and exploring the time at Smith's Grove better. The final third is just filled with retreads of the original that don't work as well thanks to the characters continuing to be unlikable for the most part and a climax that goes on far too long. I keep talking about the characters and I stand by that I don't like most of them. The whole Myers family sucks, and as I've said, it seems like everyone Michael encounters is also garbage. I don't like the trio of girls, Laurie, Annie, and Linda, anywhere near as much as the originals. Scout isn't a bad Laurie, but I've never had that sense of wanting her to be protected like I did with Jamie Lee's version, especially after she finger fucked up Bagel. Even Danielle Harris doesn't make Annie more likable, which is a shock because the original Annie was already slightly annoying and Harris did such a good job as Jamie in the past. Malcolm McDowell's Loomis is far inferior to Donald Pleasance's. Don't get me wrong, he is certainly one of, if not the best actors here, but I don't like his portrayal of the character. I really can't tell if he wants to help Michael or profit off him with his book. Whatever the case, Loomis should realize who or what he's dealing with instead of calling him his best friend and by the end blaming himself for failing. Not a bad performance, but terrible and uncertain motives. The biggest upgrade for me is actually Sheriff Brackett. Even with the small amount of time he gets on screen, Brad Dourif does such a good job of making a character I previously thought was creepy into one that I appreciate. Also, Tyler Mane is a scary Michael Myers. His size is enough to make you crap your pants, but his insane strength and brutality would make you crumple up into the fetal position if you saw him. The mask is also really good in this one, to me probably the best since part 2. I love the realistic deteriorated look it has after being hidden away for 15 years. The kills are plenty and savage. Some are creative, others unsettling, and then there are those two that pale in comparison to how they were originally done. I realize Rob Zombie wanted to do something new with the franchise and try to make the character of Michael Myers scary again while putting in some new things for the fans, but his style of filmmaking and writing don't have any business being involved in a Halloween film, no less a remake of the original. The first third is a disgusting origin for Michael, the second third is a missed opportunity with the Smiths Groves meeting, and the final third is a rough imitation of the events from the original. So despite having a scary as hell Myers, lots of gross out deaths, decent performances, and attempting to be different, Zombie's style works horrible for a Halloween film, 90% of the characters are unbearable, and I absolutely hate the origin given to Michael. I give Halloween 2007 2 aluminum baseball bats out of 5. But let me know your thoughts. What did you think of the backstory to explain Michael's murderous ways? Were you okay with Rob Zombie's approach? Are you insane enough to prefer the remake over the original? And what was your favorite kill? Don't forget to subscribe and follow my Twitter and Instagram. Links to those are in the description. Next week, they actually got Zombie to come back and make a sequel with Halloween 2. Until next time, peace.